I'm pretty sure this person's a lawyer, just for context, but I work at a fairly traditional / conservative company, and I feel like senior leadership is not keeping pace with the fast rate of change in our industry. We're not agile enough, and it's leading us to stand behind the competition. How can I try and fix this amongst management, or is it time for the younger generation to take over?
This question could be more broadly stated as, I see something in my company that I would do differently,
Mm,
and I think I should change it. And so there's a couple of things here. One is there's something that you would do differently, which means, well, are you in the right company? And maybe you would do something differently, so you should align yourself with a different company.
mm,
That's an extreme answer. The other part is maybe there's something that could be done differently and you could influence your company to get there. That's a more moderate answer. And then the other thing is maybe the company actually doesn't need to change. You see something that could be different, but maybe the company's fine the way it is and it can
mm.
go on with this imperfection. Companies are imperfect in a million ways and they do fine for centuries. It's ridiculous how companies can go on imperfectly. So there's three different answers to this question. Let's take the middle ground, which is the company does need to be different. It's capable of being different and I can influence it. So then the question is, how do I influence my company? How do I influence my peers? And how do I influence the direction of the way the company goes? Influential leadership is something that is misunderstood by many. People think, oh, I have to get a decision maker on my side so that the decisions start to head quickly in the direction that I think they should go in. That's actually a very difficult approach. Instead, influencing companies, influencing groups of people at all, influencing your peers, tends to be about getting anybody who's willing to listen first to pay attention.
Mm.
So there's a really great video online. I think it's called The First Follower, and it was a TED Talk. And so I encourage you to just look up The First Follower, and you'll see
Yeah.
a picture of a guy dancing on a hillside, like a hill, during a concert. And the voiceover is talking about how there's this crazy guy dancing, and he's not a leader, he's just a crazy guy. But then somebody else comes up and starts dancing with him, and that's the first follower. And it's critical to have that first follower. The crazy dancer adopts this new first follower as an equal. And that's what you have to do as an influencer. You can't own the change. You have to let the first person who joins you in believing that this change should happen, you have to let them own it too, just as much as you do.
Mm.
So people often have this fight between, oh, I had this great idea, I want ownership of it, I want it to be my idea that everyone recognizes was great, but I also want this big change to happen. You have to give up the ownership of the idea and allow anybody who joins you in this idea to own it too. And so then the change can actually happen. So that first follower is really where leadership starts to influence. And so now you have crazy guy dancing who has now become a leader because he has a first follower, and then a second follower and a third follower. And then you have movement and a momentum towards what happens next. So
Mm.
allow anybody to get on your side, and then allow them to influence whoever they can to get on your side, and allow them, so it becomes this chain of influence. And by the time you know it, you've influenced the change of the company, but you did it so indirectly you don't feel ownership over it, but you
Hmm.
still made the influence.
I was thinking of Jerry Maguire the whole time you were talking. Who's coming with me? No, it makes sense. And I think that's, it has some counterintuitive ideas, I think, for some people
Yep.
who think that leadership means that they have to take charge and steer the path ahead rather than build this coalition around them of equals who are involved in it.